Coming up on this episode of Conversations with the Mayor and Council, in recognition of Fair Housing Month, we're talking about how Rockville is working to expand housing opportunities and support all residents in all stages of their housing journey. We'll take a closer look at the Department of Housing and Community Development's efforts with its homeownership and MPDU programs, as well as the Housing Needs Assessment. We're even going to do a deep dive into a hot-button conversation in Rockville, the city's Landlord Tenant Code Rewrite. Conversations with the Mayor and Council starts right now. Hello, Rockville. Welcome to Conversations with the Mayor and Council, the show where we take a closer look at the issues and initiatives as well as the ideas shaping Rockville's future. I'm Mayor Monique Ashton. April is Fair Housing Month, and this episode will focus on the Mayor and Council's and the Department of Housing and Community Development's efforts for fair and affordable housing in Rockville. But before we dive into our conversations, let me give you a bit of history on Fair Housing Month. Fair Housing Month commemorates the passage of the Fair Housing Act, which was signed into law on April 11, 1968. This landmark legislation made it illegal to discriminate in the sale, rental, or financing of housing based on race, color, religion, or national origin. Later, amendments expanded those protections to include sex, disability, and family status. The law was passed during a pivotal moment in our nation's civil rights movement and came just days after the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who had long advocated for fair and equal access to housing. The Fair Housing Act represented a major step forward in addressing housing and discrimination, as well as promoting inclusive communities across the entire country. Here in Rockville, we remain committed to promoting fair and equitable housing for our community, and we will continue to support policies and develop programs that help make safe and affordable housing accessible to everyone. And part of that commitment is to creating homeownership programs that help making owning a home a reality for more people in our community. Joining me now is Lauren Sukol, one of Rockville's housing specialists with the Department of Housing and Community Development, who's here to say more about the city's program. Lauren, let's start the conversation. How are you doing today?
Great. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks
Great.
so much for all that you do to help make this a reality for people. So tell me about the Homeownership Down Payment Assistance Program.
Sure. The RHAP program is the newest program of the city's affordable housing programs. It stands for Rockville Homeownership Assistance Program. It comes in two forms. We fund down payment and closing cost assistance through a second mortgage, often referred to as a silent second because there's no monthly payments and 0% interest. We also have a grant program for people who are considered first-generation home buyers. This is defined as someone who neither parent owns a home and also, or they've aged out of foster care or are emancipated.
That's incredible. So you have two parts of the program. One, that's the more general program, but then we're trying to dig deep on people who've never had a family member or parent who's owned a home before. And so you're really trying to focus this program on people who need that extra boost.
That's exactly right.
For many first-time and moderate income home buyers, getting started is really hard for them. Can you tell me how this program is helping residents overcome those barriers, and what are some of the common barriers that you're seeing to homeownership?
Sure. The most common barrier we see is that for many people who can otherwise afford the monthly mortgage payment is just being able to come up with tens of thousands of dollars up front to put down and to cover the closing costs. So this program aims to address that exact barrier and remove it for people.
Thank you very much. So I was reading an interesting statistic that showed that about 23% of first-time home buyers are able to borrow money from family and friends. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people cannot, right? Mm-hmm. And so in this case, Rockville is part of the family that's helping people get ready for their home. So that really warms my heart. Mm-hmm. And it's really cool to hear that you're already hearing some of the stories from people and the impact that it's making on their lives. So you are making the American dream come true right here in Rockville.
We are together.
So if someone was watching and they're thinking, that sounds amazing, how do I get started? What would you tell them?
I would tell them, please email homeownership@rockvillemd.gov. I answer that email, and honestly, I love nothing more than giving people information, probably too much information, more than they want, about the home buying process from start to closing.
What's interesting too is that in this segment we're talking about the MPDU program, and you have this down payment assistance program.
Yes.
Tell me how they can be used together.
You can use them together just like that. Even our portal for the application is in the same place. So in the same way that people would apply for the MPDU program, if it gets to the point where they're invited to come and sign a contract on one of the units, they would then reach back out to the city, to homeownership at rockvillemd.gov, to inquire about down payment assistance. And it is really seamless from that point on. We try and take so much of it off of the applicant. We work directly with the lender oftentimes, the title company, and the developer to make sure all of the documentation that's required, we're taking care of that. So the applicant, all they have to worry about is planning their move and figuring out what paint colors they want to choose for their new home.
And how can someone layer other programs that are in the state or the county with the Rockville program?
That's a really wonderful question. So we allow for our loan to be in third position, as the lenders say, which means that you can actually use State of Maryland Mortgage Program funding in addition to ours. And they have a whole host of different types of products for first-time home buyers and repeat buyers. Oftentimes when applicants come in and want to talk about the home buying process, I will sit down with them and go over all of the state and county programs for which they may be eligible to make sure they can get the best benefit.
You are the housing navigator.
I try to be.
Lauren, thank you so much. But I believe that we have someone who's been through this program and has a testimonial to share with us. Thank you so much for helping people. And I'm going to ask our team to please roll the clip.
I was able to buy my first home in the city of Rockville Lemons with our City of Rockville Employee Homeownership Assistance Program. It was a very easy process, and I was able to live, work, and play within the city of Limits for the first time. I'm really looking forward to having a garden very shortly and enjoying other things that I can do with my new house. And I really love the fact that I can walk to work and enjoy the Rockville Town Center very easily. And it's really great that the City of Rockville is investing in their employees with this new program. So I'm very proud of it, and I'm very proud of my new house.
Lauren, that's so great to hear. Thanks for all you're doing on the program. Is there anything else you want to share about it?
Well, I would just say that even if you're not sure whether or not you qualify, please reach out. I'd rather have the conversation and find out what assistance could be available to you.
We appreciate all that you're doing for the City of Rockville and helping people to realize their dream. Thank you again. The conversation is just getting started. Next, we're going to be taking a closer look at Rockville's Moderately Priced Dwelling Unit Program, or MPDU program, and how it's putting homeownership in financial reach for our residents. And later, it's one of the most important efforts for the city, updating the city's Landlord Tenant Code. These conversations are ones that you do not want to miss, and they're coming up right after this, so stay with us. Welcome back to Conversations with the Mayor and Council. In recognition of Fair Housing Month, we're talking to the housing team from the Department of Housing and Community Development about Rockville's efforts on affordable housing. And joining the conversation is housing specialist Poonam Thukral. She's going to talk to us about the city's Molly Price Dwelling Unit Program, also known as the MPDU, and we'll hone in a bit on the homeownership program. Welcome, Poonam.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
So this is one of my favorite programs in the city because it's giving people opportunities. And I think Montgomery County was leading in this area on inclusionary zoning back in the day. And so this is really about looking at how do we find affordable opportunities for people to own their homes. So tell me about what you do every day and how this is helping people.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So City of Rockville MPDU program is designed to provide the affordable housing unit to the Rockville resident for buying and for renting.
Poonam, just want to say you are doing incredible work to expand affordable housing options in the city, and there's two components of the program as you're mentioning. So there is the homeownership program and there's the rental program for MPDUs. With every new development, right, that has 20 homes or more, or 20 units or more. Tell me about that.
Yes.
We have these programs.
So any new residential development when it comes to city or proposed, and so they have to provide us 15% of the total unit as MPDU unit. It means these unit will be priced out and below the market rate unit. And so this way you can say also this program, it promotes the economic integration by embedding the affordable unit within the market rate unit. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
So if people are walking by or driving by this beautiful new development that's coming to the city of Rockville, we have new communities being built as we speak, they should pause and say to themselves, I can't afford that. We should also look and see that there are programs to help. And so tell me, what are the price ranges of some of these Molly Price dwelling homes for sale?
So sure. So right now, during the first quarter of 2026, we can say the price range for the townhouse, a 3-bedroom townhouse and 2 tandem garage townhouses for 250,000 to from 419,000 right now, but it can change for future development when the new housing will be proposed a little bit.
That's incredible. That's incredible. So the 200,000 range to the 400,000 range.
Yes.
So people see that the house price, they think it's higher, but embedded in those communities are opportunities for them to access affordable housing.
Yes.
And so we also try to make sure that we're meeting people where they are in terms of income. So what are some of the income requirements to be a part of the program?
Sure. The minimum income for buying a house is the requirement is one should be approved for 150K thousand loan, and they should have a pre-approved loan letter for that. Minimum is 150, but maximum is depends upon the size of the family. And for we right now, you can say we are going from 50% of AMI, 60% of AMI, and 80% of AMI. We are offering the unit at 3 level, 3 tier of income band right
so
now.
AMI, average median income, and that means that we're trying to look at different price points based on people's ability to afford that home.
So it means the higher the AMI, more they pay the price of the unit also. Right now for 50% of AMI, the price is 249 right now, and it can be little higher than as the CPI increase, but staff make sure the price should be as affordable as possible for the affordable housing family, so.
And early in some of our segments, we talked about the down payment assistance program for new homeowners.
Yes.
And so they can they pair that kind of program with this MPDU program?
Of course, they can pair this program with that, and we have helped some residents also, like those who have already applied for MPDU program, and they are also applying when city has introduced this program for the resident, and now the resident are also applying with the homeowner assistance grant, and to buy a MPDU house.
I love that, so that people can come and they can get help in terms of the homeownership down payment assistance program and get the MPDU program. So you can pair those together. And I want people to know that if they're interested in this, they should take a look at the resources you have now, because there's a process, right, that people have to go through.
Yes.
So tell me where they should go to learn more about the process.
Sure. They should visit our City of Rockville website, rockvillemd.gov, and then they can go to MPDU Homeownership Program website. And first step is how to apply for first-time home buyer class.
That's right.
First-time
Yes.
home buyer program. So they have to attend the first-time home buyer class. That is 6-hour class, and it should be provided by any HUD-approved organization. Second step is to get the pre-approved loan letter, and they can choose any lender of their choice. And they can shop around for the interest rate also. And then third step is to go to the city website and follow the MPDU Homeownership Program application portal, and then file the application. Once they submit the application, once their application is approved, and the MPDU certificate of eligibility will be issued to them, and when they receive the certificate of eligibility, it means their name has been added to the MPDU waiting list. So City of Rockville MPDU waiting list will be shared with the developer when the new unit will be available.
Thank you. So we talked about the homeownership program. Also want to know that there's MPDU rental opportunities as well. And the city has done some efforts to expand those. People are listening, they want to know, where can I find out the list of affordable homes?
Affordable housing, yes. If they visit our City of Rockville website, in search bar they have to write only MPDU rental property list, and then that page will appear, and then they will find the complete list of the MPDU rental properties list. And if they want to apply for the MPDU rental program, they can directly contact the rental property. And to know the current availability, always check our website also, because whenever any unit becomes available, we post that information on our website also.
Well, thank you so much. And you can learn more about the MPDU program and other affordable housing resources at rockvillemd.gov/MPDU. Still to come on Conversations with the Mayor and Council, we're going to be talking about updates to the city's Landlord Tenant Code. And so you'll be hearing more from us. We'll take a deep dive into the specifics of these updates and what this means for both landlords and tenants in Rockville. It's a conversation worth having, so stay with us. Welcome back to Conversations with Mayor and Council. Now it's time to talk about a topic that many of you are very vested in, Rockville's Landlord Tenant Code update. But first, let me explain what the Landlord Tenant Code update is. In November 2024, the Mayor and Council approved an initiative to update Rockville's Landlord Tenant Code. It's a part of the city's Housing Strategies Work Plan. We have over 40 action items as part of it. This is an effort focused on improving housing affordability, stability, and supporting our community. The Landlord Tenant Code outlines the rights and responsibility of both tenants and landlords. Over the past decade, the number of renters in Rockville has grown significantly. 10 years ago, about 40% of residents were renters. Today, renters make up nearly half of the city's population, and that number is expected to continue to grow. With more residents choosing to rent, the city wants to make sure that every renter has a safe, healthy housing opportunity that meets their needs and adequate protections to keep them there. That's why Rockville is taking a comprehensive look at the Landlord Tenant Code to ensure that it continues to support both renters and property owners as our community evolves. To explain the proposed updates to the city's Landlord Tenant Code, we have here from the Department of Housing and Community Development, Housing Specialist Trevor Stephen, as well as Jane Lyons-Rader. Thanks so much for joining me, and let's start the conversation. How are you doing today?
Good, thank you.
Good, and thanks for all the work that you do again. First, how does the city support landlords and tenants? I know that there is a huge program that you guys are a part of, very, very important, called the Landlord Tenant Affairs Program. Tell me about it and what kind of resources you provide.
Yeah, and thank you for having us, Madam Mayor. So our office is designed to be a educational resource, but also an assist for landlords and tenants who live in the city. Whether you're in a multi-family apartment or if you live in a single-family home, we're here to educate you on your rights and responsibilities. And in certain cases, if issues arise, we are here to be a mediator and help resolve some of those issues. So some of the common issues that we might see under a landlord-tenant case could include security deposit, maintenance issues, unpaid rent, or really anything pertaining to your rent.
If someone has a concern or has a need or a complaint, please let us know. How should they engage with your office?
Sure. So there's a number of different ways to engage our office, whether it be for landlord-tenant or for REAP. For landlord-tenant, you could come into the office. You can reach us via telephone. You can send an email to our central email address for landlord and tenant. Or if you need any sort of assistance with unpaid rent or utility shutoffs, you can also come and engage our Rockville Emergency Assistance Program.
Thank you so much for what you do. The city also is in the process of updating our landlord-tenant code, as we noted earlier. Can you walk us through some of the changes and why they're so important?
Sure, absolutely. So as you said, it's a rewrite of an entire chapter of city code. So there's a lot of changes that are a part of that, both big and small. And the small changes are things to make sure that the code is clear, that everyone, both residents and us, are able to easily understand and enforce the code. And then there's some big new exciting ideas as well that are being proposed. Things like banning algorithmic rent pricing to help tamper down on price collusion, relocation assistance for if a unit is unable to be safely habited, as well as transparency is a really big theme throughout the entire rewrite, especially around fees and making sure that tenants are completely informed about what fees they're being charged and placing some restrictions on those fees to make sure that they're reasonable and fair. And in general, that's really the goal of the rewrite, is to make sure that the code is clear, that it's fair, and that everything is working well and working even better for both landlords and tenants.
Thank you. And I know that you're going to be doing a lot of education as part of this rollout so that both landlords and tenants know about their rights. Tell me a bit about that.
Sure. So the community is at the heart of this whole rewrite process. Ultimately, what we wanted to do before we even delved into any sort of research, we were sure that we wanted to reach out to landlords and tenants in separate listening sessions to hear what they think is working well in the city and what they think needs to be improved upon. So after that, we were able to take some of the feedback to generate the direction we wanted to go in for the Landlord-Tenant Code Rewrite, but it doesn't necessarily stop there. We want to continue to involve the community throughout the process to make sure we're headed in the right direction, we're hitting all the targets that they want us to hit, and ultimately that the code rewrite will be impactful.
What would you tell our residents who are watching today and want to learn more about how they can get more specifics on this effort?
Sure. So through our Engage Rockville page, we have a lot of different promotional items, and we post all of our updates to that site. So even if you aren't able to make it to those listening sessions, we hope that you'll still be able to go to the Engage Rockville site in order to provide feedback, as well as just to track our progress.
Thank you. And I also noted, Jane, you talked about algorithmic pricing and making sure part of the code is transparent.
Transparency and fairness is really important because when you're entering into a lease between a landlord and a tenant, that's a really big deal. This is the place that you live, that's your home. You want to make sure that you fully understand everything that's required of you and that's expected from that arrangement. And you also want to make sure that the amount that you're being charged is fair, because housing is usually a family's biggest expense. And we've found that many households are paying 40-50% of their income towards housing. And so when entering into and spending so much of your money on housing, you want to make sure that you're being charged fairly.
Thank you, Trevor and Jane, for breaking down this very important initiative. Now I want everyone watching, please stay engaged and in the know about updates to the Landlord-Tenant Code. Please head to engagerockville.com. Up next, it's our Conversation Spotlight, and we're highlighting the city's housing needs assessment and how it examines Rockville's current and future housing needs. That conversation is coming up next after this. Welcome back to Conversations with Mayor and Council. As we wrap up this episode, it's time for our Conversation Spotlight, and we're highlighting the Department of Housing and Community Development's Housing Needs Assessment Initiative, an important effort looking at Rockville's current and future housing needs, and how the city is planning to ensure that there are housing options for residents at each and every stage of life. And joining us to tell us all about it, please welcome back Program Manager Jane Lyons-Rader, and she is joined by the Director of Housing and Community Development, Ryan Trout. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for all that you do. And we know that you're working on a big, important initiative. Tell us a bit more about the Housing Needs Assessment and why it's so important.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Department's Housing Needs Assessment is really just a big study of the housing needs in the city. And we are really trying to understand the housing needs, both current housing needs and the housing needs of our community in the future. And so we're working to collect data to help inform the needs assessment, but also collect a lot of feedback from the community in order to really help us understand and influence the type of housing policies and programs we could put in place over the next few years. Right? Rockville's demographics and population have really shifted over the last time a housing needs assessment was conducted. And so we really want to understand those dynamics and be able to influence the type of work that we're going to be doing for the next 5 and 10 years.
So now that we've wrapped all that data up, what are you going to do as a next step?
Sure. So yes, we were able to do a community survey and hear from a large number of residents about the challenges that they're facing with housing. So having that survey was important for us to then hear the concerns from folks. The survey and then our community open house that we hosted to share the results from the housing needs assessment and from that survey. And that helped us to learn exactly in what types of ways people are struggling with housing. They're having difficulty finding housing in the first place that meets their family's needs. And then also struggling to stay in housing, even if they have found it, in order to afford it. We heard from an unfortunate number of folks that they're having trouble paying for the housing and are forgoing other costs in their life in order to make sure that they're paying the rent or the mortgage payment on time. And so now that we've heard all of that, we're able to bring it together, that community input with the data, and figure out what the best policy responses might be to help address those challenges.
Thank you for doing that. And I think it's so important that you have taken that outreach approach because we need to hear from people. We're not just sitting at a desk thinking about policies, but it's grounded in research, and not just national research, but understanding the local context and what's going on in Rockville. So Ryan, tell me more about what you're going to be doing as a next step.
Yeah, so we're going to be taking this feedback that we've received from the community, taking that data and really helping to influence the Housing and Strategies work plan that the Mayor and Council supported back in the fall of 2024. So we have a lot of projects, a lot of programs and initiatives and policies that we are interested in moving forward, but this is really going to help ground that work and really help us tailor it to the local needs of the city of Rockville.
Thank you. I love the research-based approach. I love the people-centric approach. And I just want to say thank you so much for all that you're doing. We are looking forward to not only having great opportunities in Rockville now, but thinking about the future so that every generation can see themselves living here in the city.
Absolutely.
That wraps up our Conversation Spotlight. I want to thank Jane and Ryan for helping us better understand the housing needs assessment and how it will guide the city's planning for the future. It's an important effort to make sure that Rockville continues to offer housing options that meet the needs of our growing community. And with that, this episode of Conversations with Mayor and Council comes to an end. In recognition of Fair Housing Month, this episode highlighted the several ways that the City of Rockville is working to support housing communities across our entire city, from homeownership assistance programs and the MPDU program, which is helping to make buying a home attainable, to updates to the Landlord Tenant Code focused on ensuring safe and healthy housing for all. And we also highlighted the city's housing needs assessment, an effort to better understand Rockville's current and future housing needs and help guide policies and programs that support a strong, vibrant, and inclusive community. We know that access to fair and affordable housing is essential for the very well-being of the residents and the families that we serve. That's why it continues to be a priority for this Mayor and Council. Working alongside our incredible city staff and leaders, we are committed to doing our part to ensure that everyone in this community has access to safe, fair, and affordable housing. Thank you for joining us, and a special thanks to the housing team from the Department of Housing and Community Development for sharing their insights today. Let's rise together and keep the conversation going. You can connect with us on social media, the City of Rockville on Facebook and Instagram, and Rockville 411, as well as on X. And check our newly redesigned website. It's your digital door to all the programs that you've heard about today. Head to rockvillemd.gov. And that's a wrap on this episode of Conversations with the Mayor and Council. I'm Mayor Monique Ashton. Until next time, Rockville.